Hey guys, it's the Gundam Boy, and today we're going to be talking about a fun little indie game that I found called Gearbits, and it is a pretty interesting mecha game. If you think about a game like Gundam Battle Operations mixed with a little bit of Armored Core, that's what you'd get with Gearbits. And I'm not talking about Armored Core 6, I'm talking older. And can we just talk about the style of the game? I like this old classical like stylization of like an old retro game. This is pretty fun to look at, but the main thing about it though is the gameplay. So we'll talk about the movement. There is a mode where it has flight and hover, and you have to manually swap between the two. And the thrust can be affected by the strain it has on your suit, and it seems that all of them have their own set of stats. And it's nice that they also leave a little message next to it to let you know what they're good at, because I wouldn't have guessed from looking at all these stats myself. So we have the armor, which is your health, thruster capacity, which is how long you can fly for, your carry capacity, which is how much weapons you can carry, FCS for how much it counteracts your bad aim, which means aim assist, and melee control, which tells you how much this thing can swing, and also its speed. And it also tells you about a coolant type, which I assume has different cooldown speeds. And when it comes to the weapons, it's super flexible as long as it fits within the parameters of your suit. So now, no weapons that are too heavy, or you won't be able to carry it. You can only fire one weapon at a time. You have to swap between them if you want to use a different weapon. It's not like Armored Core where you can fire all your weapons off at the same time, so that'd be something to keep in mind. And just in case you didn't notice it on the left, I do have a heat mechanic. There is tons of weapon options in this game, so you can really just blend whatever you want, but you have to unlock the rest of it as you play through the game, so you are limited in the beginning to kind of a grunt mech, and you'll get more and more Gundam when you get to the end. But going over to the story, you begin your story being pushed out of a base because your commander doesn't like you anymore, and they want to get rid of you as soon as possible. And with how much these guys yap, I don't blame them. And this was supposed to be just a simple convoy mission to drop you guys off at your new babysitter, and you guys immediately get swarmed by the bugs. The the bugs, do have different variations. The bugs you currently see that I'm fighting right now are just a generic melee one. They have to get in close and bite. And sure, there's a lot of bugs, but I have a melee mech with a rocket launcher and a giant cannon. We were fine. But we finished that mission and they introduced our heroes to Kino Base, which is the place we'll be hanging out for a while. And this giant muffin is the happiest commander I've ever seen because this guy's just chill like that. He just went, hey, welcome to the base, and I'm glad you guys are joining us. And then he completely fucked off. So then we move on to the next mission, defending 3 trucks, and I accidentally start blowing shit up. But the trucks got away safely, even though I was nuking the area. Minus truck 2, he's took it a couple of beatings. But then we have a raider faction that pulls up the raider goons, and they're like, we want that convoy supply. So they come over and they try to fuck us up. So this is the first time you fight another mecha enemy in a mission, so it is pretty light work. And then another group of raiders pull up, and it turns out the raider goons like, oh no, we can't beat them alone. So they pull out Grandma, and Grandma's just like, don't worry, we'll get some loot. But then you get your rival buddy who comes in, and he's like, I'm gonna fight him because I'm gonna do all the work. I'm gonna make everything work. So Grandma's like, go fight the mech. And he's like, okay. And Grandma's from West Side because she's just like, either he gets his ass beat or he gets us some loot. And that's just cold, Grandma. So your buddy has a pissing match with him, but then the commander of your team is just like, go fight him yourself. And I'm like, well, I guess I gotta fight him. And the first thing I'd like to point out as a criticism in this game is the boss fights feel kind of weird. Whether it's trying to land an attack or them trying to attack you, it just feels very weird. I don't know how to explain it. After fighting this bullet sponge of an enemy, he just kind of stood there for a second going, no way, and when I went over, he just exploded abruptly, so I thought he would be dead after that. But midway, we learned that there's a new bug that can shoot a pistol laser that just annihilates everybody. But don't worry, Iguazu's not going anywhere. His grandma saved him by grabbing his cockpit module. But they straight up just dipped. They're like, nope, we're out of here. Laser bug is too much. The next mission is the epitome of 52 pickup. You just run around grabbing these supply boxes or weird container things and bringing it back to a point of interest while avoiding all the enemies. But fighting both raiders and bugs lead to our fighting group here needing some assistance from the Regolith, which is a different command group, I guess. They're just a different team. They're called Nighthawks. Then, in comparison to our lovely Arno, we have Commander Rostrom, this big, fat, ugly motherfucker. And you're wondering, hey, why are you being so mean to him, Gundam Boy? Well, this guy is the bad guy. Look at him. So he starts off pretty chill, just kind of giving you missions, and your next mission is to fight more bugs. The main thing we do here is just hold a defensive line against a bunch of bugs, and we kill them. But we do it and do it successfully, but the commander here doesn't exactly like how chatty we are. But they decide to fire up the giant laser cannon and shoot their mega piss towards the enemy. So, Chubby McFatfuck over here wants to take over the city where there's a shit ton of bugs, but they want to keep the city a city and not bombard it, so they send us in. And we fight to the fucking teeth and bone. I was getting swarmed by a shit ton of bugs. And they have a new bug that's basically a charger where they run at you at full speed the melee. And a couple of missions later, we run into these clowns again. And oh no, they have 3 of them! Oh, what a liver I... Yeah, he didn't last very long in this fight. So the next mission was another bullet sponge of a boss fight, which was worse because this guy was in a Gundam and I was inside of a Zaku. But barely completing the mission, they were like, ceasefire, don't break the suit. But the next mission was a really important mission because this clown, Nora, the dorky girl, has us defend her giant candy rock as it gets probed by her little machines. This rock has something to do with the bugs, so she needs her probes to study it and get a sample. The next mission is just a defend the gate mission as you're fighting for your life against endless waves of bugs and goofy-ass teammates. Because let me just tell you, despite having teammates, these guys are really spread out and not spread out at the same time. Like, they're all clumped up in weird areas. But the regolith just in time comes over to start supporting you with fire support. So he says stay out of the danger zone and proceeds to airstrike you anyways. So it fades to black, but you still see my arrow in the middle, but it turns out you were saved, and by Nora. Turns out the regolith did its airstrike, killing a majority of the bugs, but still left a shit ton of them into the city because they broke through the goddamn gate, and they're nowhere to be found. And Nora's just like, hey, can you fight all of them even though you just got a concussion? Disturbing the peace! Look into my eye! Turns out, after that mission, Nora likes to report to everybody that this giant candy rock is actually a hive mind machine that controls all the bugs in the area. So Nora's like, we should use the giant laser cannon because that giant spire that's a middle finger to the world is a giant hive mind battery. Take that down and the world should be saved from these giant bugs, though the regolith is the only one with the firepower to do it, and guess who's behind the controls? This fat ass. Arno comes in like, hey, we should use a laser cannon on it, and the fat ass is like, hell nah, because it's my laser cannon, fuck you. So Tubby Custard here still wants to keep the bugs around so that he can use the civilian workforce to do anything that he wants, to like making donuts for his big ass. Basically, holding the world hostage to gain from it. You can say he's hungry for power. Get it? Because he's fat. So Mr. Chalupa Man makes you fight the raiders again, trying to eliminate as many of their forces as you can. Then you get intercepted by some more bugs, and eventually leading to you to fight the actual 2 main groups, Grandma and your favorite man. But they hoped you fight the bugs together, so the agreement was that you let them walk away, and I didn't realize that was the case, so I just killed them without really thinking about it. And then I got fish and mailed. Turns out you're supposed to let them walk off, so I let them leave nice and peacefully. Totally didn't mean to wind that up. Though, but Chunky McFatass over here didn't appreciate that we didn't listen to him, so he put an entire bomb into my mech. And talk about a hostile work environment. This guy made me carry a right hand the entire time, and if I dropped it, he said I would blow you up, so I had to do the entire mission without my main gun. But luckily for me, I have chest miniguns. Turns out the whole hostile takeover of the military isn't working out so well for him because a lot of the civilians aren't really appreciating it and are starting to riot, and he sends you to go and kill them. And I was so ready to start stepping on people, I was like, alright, let's go and do it, and then I got this message. Turns out we're being saved. Oh man, I never get to commit war crimes. Nora pulls up in this big ass Hummer and she's like, don't worry guys, I'll jam the bombs for you. Just help me take out the tower. And hold on, I'll get there, Nora. Just give me a second. They keep spawning in. They keep spawning in. Where are all you guys coming from? This mission has the weird thing where it just keeps spawning enemies from the hangar. Like, how many guys fit in this motherfucking thing? So now that the guy can't suicide squad us because we took out the comm tower, we have to fight Gundam over here. And she comes out talking mad shit, like she's gonna be a crazy fight. And never mind, she wasn't that hard actually. I think that's because I had stronger weapons this time. So we ran away to Grandma because they're gonna take us in and help us finish the mission. And unlike Commander Planetoid, everybody's mind isn't on the salad bar. In fact, we're just gonna steal the ship because his big ass is too lazy to do anything about it. Oh yay, another 52 pickup game where you grab containers and bring them back to a spot while avoiding enemies. Okay. Even fighting the Black Tri-Stars weren't enough to make me feel better after this mission, even though I did enjoy fighting them better than the rest of the boss fights. That eventually we do go and eliminate the ship's defenses to go ahead and steal the Golgarath or whatever the name is. But car theft isn't cool, Jim, so all the enemies come over and swarm you as you try to hold the defensive point. Now with the ship under our control, we can finally use it. Just kidding, you can't use it to fire its laser just yet because we don't have the keys to fire it. Turns out there's a computer in this giant defended base that we can't really attack from a normal angle, so instead we take the elevator from space down to Earth. So they drop you off and they go back down to the surface waiting for you to complete your objective. And the mission objective is find the computer room! But instead of finding the computer room, you get faced with Captain Logger, the guy's left hand. And let me just say, this is one of the worst boss fights ever. And I think I finally realized what's the problem with this game's boss fights. Everybody feels like a goddamn bullet sponge. Like their missiles also will one-shot you. If you're not careful in this fight, if he hits you with anything, it's pretty much game over. And I'm not even joking about that. This guy grazes you with a couple of his shots and it starts shredding your health way too far down. But eventually I got it just by weaving around this dude. After turning Captain Logger into my personal boy toy, I was able to continue this stupid ass mission, which has you fucking jump from the top of space down the elevator to the surface of Earth. Or whatever planet this is. Let me just say, this section was cool until we got to some weird sections where it felt like you only had like half a second to dodge. Like right here, look at this. Like that is such a weird dodge angle. I don't even know how I made it. After destroying the suspiciously labeled homework files on this computer, I was able to get out of here. So now that we have access to the giant laser cannon, everything's in order, and now we must take down the giant bug nest, which means I 1v1 an entire army and their hive mind. Hey, Helldivers, it might be a power creep, but can we get this mech in the game? Successfully defeating the horde, the laser cannon's ready to fire. But turns out the ship is in self-destruct mode, and they don't know where it's coming from. It seems that it's being remotely controlled by, oh, it's this fat fuck again. Don't you have a goddamn donut to choke on? So it turns out I have to fight all 5 of his Gundam suits by myself, so I go ahead and do that. So it turns out kicking his ass scares the shit out of this dude, and he goes for one last plea. He's like, oh, please, guys, I want all the food in the world. Don't kill me and don't take out my plants to make all the slaves. So one last desperate attempt to try and stop you, and he doesn't realize I have a giant artillery cannon on my shoulder, and I make light work of this guy. So now that we don't have to worry about this guy blowing up the giant ship, we fire the super mega pistol laser at the giant hive mind, saving the world. But that's pretty much it from Gearbit. That's the story. Probably told in a very lobotomized way because I'm talking about it, but this was a great game. I had a fun time playing it through and through, even though there were some janky parts of the missions. But that's it from me. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and blah 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 bye.